7 years from now, you'll be sitting in your own kitchen looking at a number just under $1 million, and none of it, not $1 of it, will have started with a paycheck. It starts tonight, in a Jiffy Lube parking lot, with $340 in checking, and a text from your landlord that just says, "Following up." No punctuation. Somehow that's worse than a full sentence would have been. You do the math on your phone for the 3rd time. It does not change. You just finished a 10-hour shift stocking shelves at a hardware store in Tulsa. Your back hurts in the specific way that means tomorrow it will hurt more. Rent is $780, due in 6 days. In your wallet, there is a Discover card, $600 limit, secured, meaning you had to put down a deposit to get it in the first place because your credit was thin enough that nobody would take a chance on you without collateral. There is $210 on it from a dentist visit you put off for 2 years and finally couldn't anymore. You pay $20 a month toward it, which means, by your calculations, you will be done paying for a filling around the same time you turn 29. Your dad, when he found out you had a credit card at all, said, "Those things ruin men." He said it the way he says most things, flat, final, like it was inherited wisdom instead of an opinion. Your older brother, who has a mortgage and 2 kids and drives a truck he is still paying off, told you credit cards are how guys like you end up broke at 40. He is not entirely wrong about most guys, but tonight something in you does not agree. Quietly, without announcing it to anyone, you stare at the $340. Instead of the usual tight, low dread, you ask yourself something you have not asked before. What if the card isn't the problem? What if I've just never used it for anything that goes somewhere? You don't know it yet. Well, you sort of do now. But that question, sitting in a parking lot that smells like motor oil, is where it starts. Here is the thing nobody explains about being broke in your 20s, as a man specifically. There is a particular flavor of shame to it that does not show up in the statistics. You are supposed to have this figured out already. You are supposed to be the one who is solid, who has an answer, who does not flinch when someone asks what you do for money. You flinch. Every time. You have gotten very good at changing the subject fast enough that people don't notice the flinch, but you notice it. Every single time. You break the pattern on a Wednesday. Not dramatically. You are eating a gas station sandwich in your car because you are not spending $9 on lunch, and you are scrolling, and you find a thread. Guys who learned one skill and doubled their income in a year. No degree required. You almost keep scrolling. You have seen this content before, and it usually smells like a pitch. But these aren't guys selling a course about selling courses. One was a forklift driver. One did HVAC installs. A third, 25 years old, same as you, is now clearing $140,000 a year doing technical sales for an industrial equipment company. Every one of them says some version of the same sentence. Learn to sell the thing you already understand. You read for 40 minutes. You are late getting back. You do not care. 5 days later, you find the course. Technical sales training, cold outreach, discovery calls, how to close without sounding like you're closing. It costs $260. You look at the checkout page for 3 nights running. Open it, close it. Your card balance is $210. Adding $260 puts you at $470 on a $600 limit. You call Discover and ask if there's any way to bump the limit given your payment history. The guy on the phone, bored but not unkind, says he can get you to $750. You sit with your thumb over the button for what feels like 5 minutes and is probably 20 seconds. You swipe it, and you feel that specific thing, the one that doesn't have a clean name, somewhere between smart and reckless, and you will not know which one it actually was for a while. But here is what makes this swipe different from every other one you've made. It is not pointed at tonight. It is pointed at a Tuesday 6 months from now that you cannot see yet. For the first time in your life, you borrow money to build something instead of to survive something. You finish the course in 17 days, still working the hardware store shift most mornings. You watch modules on your phone during breaks, standing behind the paint counter, headphones in, one eye on the register. You practice cold call scripts out loud in your car, talking to a phone that isn't ringing, which looks completely insane from the outside and feels worse from the inside. Until one day the words stop sounding memorized and start sounding like you actually mean them. You apply to 19 places, hear back from 5, 2 phone screens, 1 final round, 1 offer, inside technical sales rep at an industrial parts distributor, 2 towns over, base $38,000, uncapped commission, Full benefits. You sit in your car in their parking lot after the offer call and you don't cry exactly, but your jaw does something you don't fully control for about 90 seconds. You call your dad. He is quiet on the other end for a second, and then he says, "Good." Just that, one word. And somehow it is the first time in years you've heard him say something, and known he meant it completely. Your first commission check lands 7 weeks in. $1,650, sitting on top of your base like it wandered into the wrong account. You stare at the notification twice. Then you do the thing that matters most. The first thing, not the second thing. You pay off the card. All $470. Not because a video told you to. Because somewhere in those 17 days of learning to sell, something clicked into place about what debt actually is. It's only a tool if you close the loop. The second you let a balance sit past 30 days breathing on its own, you're not using the card anymore. It's using you. Over the next year, you run almost everything through it. Gas, groceries, work boots, a phone bill you expense back anyway. Paid in full, every cycle, no exceptions. Discover notices. Your score, which sat at 598 when this started, moves to 641, then 690, then 719. They bump your limit to $2,200 without you asking. You apply for a second card, a real one this time, no deposit required, approved. 2 cards now, both paid off monthly, both quietly building a track record you will cash in later without fully understanding yet how much it's worth. Your numbers put you in the top quarter of your sales team by month 9. First full year on the job, $79,000, almost double what you made stocking shelves. You open a high-yield savings account. First deposit, $500, then $700, then $1,100. It does not feel like anything, honestly. It's just numbers moving in the background of a life that still looks pretty ordinary from outside. 14 months in, a guy on your team named Punctuation mentions equipment liquidation over lunch, almost as an aside. Quiet dude, drives a beat-up Tacoma, wears the same 2 flannel shirts on rotation. Turns out he's clearing $2,800 a month, buying pallets of return power tools and small machinery from liquidation auctions and reselling them individually. First pallet runs $600 to $900 with shipping. You research it for 2 weeks before spending $1. Forums, sold listings specifically, not active ones, because sold listings tell you what people actually pay, not what people wish they'd get. You pull the trigger, $740 pallet, mixed power tools, on the newer card, ships to a storage unit you rent for $75 a month. 2 weekends of sorting, cleaning, photographing, listing. You sell $2,400 worth of product. Net after fees and storage, $1,510. You pay the card in full before the statement closes. Next month you order 2 pallets, then 4. By month 5 of the side operation, you're clearing $3,200 to $3,800 a month. Financed almost entirely by a credit cycle that opens and closes inside 30 days. Borrow Monday, sell through the weekend, deposit, repay Tuesday. The bank collects nothing in interest. You collect the margin, the points, and another clean month on your credit file. People hear this and assume there's a trick to it. There isn't. The trick is understanding what the card actually is, a zero-interest short-term loan wrapped in a rewards program. One the bank will keep extending as long as you keep proving you'll pay it back. You're not gaming anything. You're reading the manual everyone else throws away. Year 3. Credit score 774. 3 cards. Combined limit $34,000. You have never once carried a balance past 30 days. Sales income, $98,000. The resale operation runs on about 8 hours a week now. Mostly systems at this point. You take a step up. Account executive at a bigger distributor 2 states over. Base drops slightly to $76,000, but on-target earnings hit $160,000 with real equity attached. You drive out in a truck with 174,000 miles on it that runs fine because you've never once skipped an oil change, even during the months you were counting quarters for gas. Year 4, you close your first 6-figure account, a $310,000 annual contract with a regional manufacturer. Commission check, $24,700. Combined savings and investments, $61,000, plus a Roth you've maxed every year since year 2. You buy a small duplex 15 minutes from downtown. Purchase price $274,000, 20% down in actual cash, mortgage at 6.2% because two lenders are competing for you the same week. Your file is that clean. Upstairs, tenant pays $1,250 a month. Total mortgage, insurance, and taxes, $1,690. She covers 74% of your housing cost. You sign the papers on a Thursday, drive home, sit on the back steps with a beer, the cheap kind, not because you have to anymore, just because you never stopped. Nobody calls. There's no moment. Somewhere down the block, someone's mowing a lawn. You think, this is it. This is what solid actually feels like. Year 7. You're 31. You're in your kitchen on a Sunday morning. Coffee in a chipped mug, laptop open, spreadsheet up. You update it quarterly. Out of habit more than excitement now. Retirement, $171,000. Duplex equity, $84,000. Resale business, conservatively valued, $95,000. Taxable investments, $612,000, mostly boring index funds, bought consistently every month regardless of what the market was doing that week. Total, just over $960,000. You read it twice, close the laptop, open it again. And here's the part you didn't expect. You feel almost nothing, not the fireworks you used to imagine this moment would come with. More like a long exhale, the kind you didn't know you'd been holding since a Jiffy Lube parking lot 7 years ago. You look around your own kitchen and think, nobody in this house right now knows this number exists, and that's fine. That's actually the whole point. People ask you now how you did it. Your brother, still on the truck payments, gets a look on his face somewhere between respect and suspicion, like you must have cut a corner somewhere he can't see. You tell him the truth, and he's a little disappointed because the truth has no shortcut in it. You never once borrowed money to feel better about a Friday night. You only ever borrowed it to build something that paid you back. Every dollar on a card was either an investment in a skill, a business cost tied directly to revenue, or something you already had the cash for and were just using the card for floating points. You never swiped to survive a month you couldn't afford. You never carried a balance as a way of life. There's a version of this story, the far more common one, where that $210 dental bill becomes $500, becomes $1,400, becomes minimum payments, while a 26% interest rate compounds quietly in the background, like something patient and waiting. Most guys who pick up a first credit card end up living that version, and it isn't because they're careless. It's because nobody ever explained the difference between borrowing as a consumer and borrowing as an operator. The consumer borrows to spend today. The operator borrows to earn, then closes the loop before the cost becomes real. One version gets eaten alive slowly. The other builds something that's still standing 7 years later. You think about that Jiffy Lube parking lot sometimes, the smell of the sandwich, the phone screen with $340 on it, the text from your landlord that just said, "Following up." You don't miss it, but you don't resent it either. You're something closer to aware of it, aware that a tired 24-year-old man sat still long enough to ask one different question instead of the usual one. Not, how do I avoid ever owing anyone anything? But how do I make a borrowed dollar work harder than I do? 7 years. One question. A number on a laptop screen in a kitchen that still doesn't feel entirely real, most mornings, until it does. The card was never the enemy. It never needed to be feared or worshipped either. It was just a mirror, showing you back exactly the kind of man you decided to be with it.